part of the Blood Hunt event, spinning directly out of Amazing Spider-Man issue 49. Spidey's role in Blood Hunt becomes clear, and it involves, of course, Morbius. That's right, the Web-Slinger's main vampiric villain, Michael Morbius, is involved in the big vampire play, and Peter has to figure out if he needs to take out his fanged foe or save him. Blood Hunt, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 1. Spider-Man says, "Buddy, I don't have time for this. In case you haven't noticed, someone turned off the sun and we're currently neck deep in vampires. Yeah, and I still don't speak reptile. Due to the events of Blood Hunt, Issue 1, the sun has disappeared because of the Darkhold users. But Spider-Man is not talking to vampires, he's talking to the Lizard. These events have recently happened in Amazing Spider-Man Volume 6, Issue 49. As the Lizard jumps forward at Spider-Man, Spider-Man winds up for a punch. Spider-Man delivers that punch, but the Lizard takes a haymaker of his own. Spider-Man jumps away and tries to web the Lizard, but it doesn't work as the Lizard grabs his leg and slams him down head first. Spider-Man proclaims, "Fine, you want to fight? Let's go. I won't go easy on you." Instead of charging him, the Lizard just stands there and does not wait to engage. The Lizard only wanted to get his attention, and so does Misty Knight as she comes into the picture and says, "Good to see you again, Spider-Man." Spider-Man goes to Misty Knight. "This may be the concussion talking, but are you seriously working with the Lizard?" Misty says, "We have an agreement of sorts, stranger time, stranger bedfellows, and all that, which brings me to my reason for finding you. We need your help." As Misty shoots a vampire to save two people, Spider-Man says, "You and everyone else in New York, I'm busy." But Misty Knight responds, "What if I told you that we have a solution to all this? We have a cure." The Lizard and Dr. Michael Morbius were working on a cure. They tracked them down, but were too late. An army of vampires was sent to get Morbius. Misty Knight wants Spider-Man to help get them back. She says they grabbed Colleen along with Morbius, and I need all the help I can get, including the Lizard. Spider-Man questions why they need him. The Lizard is pretty strong, but Misty Knight answers, "The boy is strong, but he stinks at following instructions. I told him to find you, and he nearly shuffled you to this mortal coil. I'm not sure how much of what's left in his noggin is human. He's no longer part of Kurt Connors. I need someone who can watch my back, someone who doesn't see me as a snack. You're nothing if you're not consistent. Messy, but consistent." Yes, I was able to get a tracker on Morbius. We have to move quickly. The element of surprise is really the only advantage we have. Spider-Man senses a lot of vampires and realizes it will be very difficult to get to their location. It seems like they are keeping Morbius on the 46th floor, but Spider-Man is unsure how many vampires are actually in there with him. He wants to take a look and says he'll be right back. As Spider-Man thinks to himself, "I'm certain there's something Misty isn't telling me. She's not the type to show her cards ever, but this isn't something I can fix by myself. Look at me accepting help even though I don't want to. If I had a therapist, they call that progress. One step forward, two steps back." Spider-Man then says the good news, the building looks to be empty. That brings me to the bad news. The tracker was left on the desk inside. I'm guessing this isn't just a big old distraction. I don't suppose the Lizard might have a way of finding them because he definitely seems to be up to something. As Spider-Man says this, the Lizard sees something and starts running towards it. The Lizard is running faster and faster. Spider-Man thinks to himself, "At this rate, I'm going to lose him. I'm really hoping Misty found a way to keep up. Never mind that, I should have known better. But where is the Lizard going?" Meanwhile, Misty has found the horde and is knocking a few vampires down with her gun. The Lizard has gone to a supposedly abandoned church. Every church, mosque, and synagogue is packed to the gills with people fleeing the vampires. Why is this one empty? And where is the Lizard? The Lizard has found a secret underground lair where Dr. Morbius was hiding out. This turns out to be a Beyond facility. They were supposed to clean up all the Beyond Corp laboratories, but the Lizard has figured out that the Beyond project is still functional. Now they can figure out where they took Colleen and Morbius. Misty feels that there are cameras watching, which means trouble is coming. The Lizard also senses something. Spider-Man says something seems like it wants to be let in. As hundreds of vampires come crashing through the wall, his spider senses tingle, and he thinks to himself, "Nightly fellas, but this is a church." Then he says, "This is not a real church after all. I guess Beyond Corp does have its limits." Spider-Man shouts, "Misty, we have a situation up here." Misty responds, "I only need 5 more minutes and I'll have the location." Spider-Man and the Lizard fend off the vampires. Spider-Man thinks to himself, "It's not just going to be 5 minutes. I really need to hold off these vampires." He webs the edge point points and keeps webbing the vampires, but they keep pushing forward. There's no exit, he realizes. Misty says there's another exit through the lab. Misty Knight has found some footage uptown and a couple of addresses where they might turn up. Spider-Man says, I'll check them out and report back. Misty adds, but first I think we should visit a friend of mine. Despite her assistance, Spider-Man can't shake the feeling that Misty isn't revealing everything and she may not be entirely trustworthy. Misty Knight approaches a priest from the Catholic Church. As he's saying a prayer, the priest, Father Matthews, is making his first appearance. Misty Knight needs a favor from him while the Lizard is holding the front line at the church. Misty Knight needs a favor from him to bless their weapons as vampires start to attack. When the vampires get closer to church, they begin to burn, and even the priest feels a twinge of pity from the burning vampire. To get the cure, they must navigate a blazing path through Manhattan. Despite the dangers, they have no choice but to push forward and head uptown. The priest says, I will happily give you some holy water to bless, but I can't bless the guns. Spider-Man hands the priest his webbing refills to bless them. The priest adds, I have a feeling it's going to be a longer night than usual. Spider-Man starts to think to himself, there's something that's been bothering him. There are plenty of easy targets all over the city. Why did a horde of vampires ambush us at the Beyond Corp underground lab? Curiosity nags at Spider-Man as he makes his way across the city, helping out wherever he can. Spider-Man goes back to the secret lab of Beyond Corp because he doesn't exactly trust Misty Knight and wants to do a little snooping of his own. He doesn't understand what Maxine Danger has to do with Morbius and the cure. As Spider-Man is heading back, he is shocked to see Father Matthews was right. This is going to be a very long evening. As Spider-Man returns, he sees a horde of vampires ready to attack the church. Standing in the way are the Lizard, Misty Knight, and several civilians ready to fight. Spider-Man arrives just in time to join them. Morbius, the living vampire, and Colleen Wing are handcuffed in a Beyond food truck while vampires are wreaking havoc, sucking blood, and causing destruction. Colleen Wing isn't waiting for anyone to rescue her. She picks her way out of handcuffs. Morbius is impressed. As they free themselves, they realize they haven't escaped the truck yet. It suddenly stops and two vampires approach, intending to deliver the prisoners to their boss. Colleen kicks one of the vampires and Morbius assists subduing them. They entered through one way but cannot lift or break through the garage door. Instead, they head towards the elevator. Misty Knight and Colleen had stormed Morbius's underground laboratory earlier, and Morbius is still unsure why. They open the door to see a corporation run by vampires, where the vampires are dressed in suits and conducting business. Among them are many corporate vampires. Morbius and Colleen go back to back and begin swatting away at the vampires. The fight rages on and the vampires swarm around Morbius and Colleen. Colleen relies on her formidable fighting skills while Morbius taps into his vampire strength to dispatch the corporate vampires. Colleen and Morbius dispatch the vampire after vampire, but suddenly find themselves surrounded by a multitude of vampires. Again, back to back. Colleen, puzzled, remarks, wait, they just stopped. What's going on? Morbius, sensing something amiss, responds, I believe their master approaches. If Morbius and Colleen are back to back suddenly, it is assumed Morbius bites Colleen to turn her to a vampire. A new villain introduces himself as Theocritus. He says, indeed, I apologize as I do not want our meeting to be so fraught, but please tell me you're at least a little bit impressed. Unsurprisingly, when I was alive, I went by TJ, a forgettable name for an insignificant man, a lackey for the Beyond Corporation. I am now Theocritus. Welcome to my startup, Hemoglobin Inc. I want to help you finish your cure once and for all. Theocritus supposedly wants to help Morbius complete the cure for vampires. Next, Blood Hunt, Amazing Spider-Man, Volume 1, Issue 2.